Good morning, everybody. What's up? What's up? What's up? Who do we have on here today? I'll list the names in a minute. You know, as I thought about our meeting this morning, I'm going to reference a conversation I had yesterday with a real estate agent who, over the years, has done extremely well. One of the, I would call, top 5% of one of the biggest franchises. And this particular agent, from the stretch of about 2010 to 2015, was just really a dynamo. And then it all fell apart, lost her entire team, basically turned that thing all over, spent, unbelievable amounts of money, only to find that once her team left, there was no one there to really convert. And there she was, somebody that had built a substantial team, had incredible notoriety, the American Express Black Card, on top of the world, only to find that, literally it all went away. Okay. Maybe you're watching that has happened to you. I know for me, I had to fire 40 employees in the real estate and mortgage meltdown. I know what happened to me. What do you do? What do you, first of all, you have to learn, okay, from those situations, right? The reason why I'm sharing that story with you is because she had to start over, shake the Etch-a-Sketch, so to speak, right? And starting over meant her doing the work, which she hadn't really done, ever. And there's real comfort zone issues there, and saying, all right, well, what do I need to do, Pat? What do I need to do to get my business moving, get deals in? I've got some money in the bank, but it's burning rapidly. I need business now, right? And her brain kept going to, well, I got to place more ads. I said, well, you've been placing ads. Unbeknownst, you've been spending $2,600 a month, and you have not called one of these leads. I logged into her CRM and looked at all the buyers through retargeting ads and just mining through her database, and she hadn't called one. I said, well, why do you need to spend more dollars on marketing? The perception is, well, is marketing just, hey, you do marketing and all of a sudden automatic deposits go into your bank? I don't want leads. I want deals, right? That's what a lot of people think, right? You have to work the leads. And because she never dove into the skill set, it's not there. She's uncomfortable doing that. Yet the human brain has an incredible ability to rationalize and justify a statement that we know really is a statement that comes from a place of fear versus coming from a place of love or strength or whatever, right? There's only two forces, right? So when I told her, I said, listen, ultimately, when you look at results, right? Results are driven by the actions we take, and we covered this a couple weeks ago, right? I'll keep bringing this up because anytime a result is not there, what you want to attack first is the thoughts and beliefs, because we never take actions consistently for a long time on things we generally, what we're affirming, what our inner voice is saying, what our deep-rooted beliefs are, right? And I spent probably an hour now over the last several weeks with this particular agent. Again, she was bouncing around. Oh my God, so many different thoughts, right? Do you know any builders? I'm thinking of moving to Florida. Do you know anybody there? Yep, I've got people there. Or maybe California. Do you know people there? Yep, I've got people there. I made calls for her, right? Because maybe she was looking for something a little more secure. So I hooked her up with Lennar. I hooked her up with another buddy of mine in Newport Beach, California. And hey, tell me what you want and let's do it, right? But she was considering moving, go to work for a builder, go to work for some other top team agent, right? And all these different things. I need a website, or I got to make my existing website better. I got to be doing Facebook ads, right? Because she'd go to a seminar and she would listen to a top producer and they would say, well, these are the things we're doing. She said, oh my God, I got to do that, right? If that sounds familiar to people that you may know, and after listening to her and continuing to listen to her, the ultimate breakthrough we had was yesterday when I said the key to greatness starts with the mindset. She goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, there's 3 characteristics of all high achievers. Number 1, they accept 100% personal responsibility for their lives. And you've been blaming everything and everybody around you for the last 6 weeks, to be candid with you. I asked her prior, can I be the coach that really tells you how it really is, the one that you can confide in, because you're 13 states away from me and no one will know, right? But just tell me what you really think, you know? And I said, I've listened to you on conference calls, and you've been mean and nasty to certain people. I was appalled at how you actually communicated with some of these people. And I said, and that's the first characteristic, is you have to accept personal responsibility for where you're at. It's not the market, it's not the interest rates, it's not, that your team, screwed you over. It's you, cause and effect. And that's the first characteristic. Number 2, the second characteristic of all high achieving people is that they understand the cause and effect nature between their actions and their results. And as it relates to change, they understand that, hey, if I'm not getting the result I want, I probably have to shift some of the common beliefs I have. And why am I going here? Because when it comes to prospecting, picking up the phone, most real estate agents look at prospecting that's not high payoff activity. They look at it as, well, I'm really good at the presentation. I'm really good in front of people. But I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do that every day. Right. And I am here to tell you that it is really what sales is all about. There's people that do what I do for a living and speak in front of people. You have great people that can do a good presentation, but very few people can lead people to a call to action, right? There's a difference there. And when it comes to realtors, okay, real estate agents, all the above, there seems to be this overall, really, concern and worry of, my gosh, they're paralyzed at the thought of prospecting. Yet it is the highest skill set, that one can embrace. It's what pays you. It'd be like, I'm a heart surgeon, but I don't really want to I just want to actually, do this. I don't want to do all the other stuff. I just want to do this, right? When the main thing you're doing, is this, then you've got to embrace that. But prospecting, running appointments, and following up are the 3 high payoff activities, and nothing else matters. Prospecting, running appointments, and following up. Now, when we talk about scaling your business, people ask me all the time, well, Pat, would you be, if you built up your business, would you be the one on the phone? I say, no. They said, well, elaborate on that. I said, well, I would have to earn the right. I said, wouldn't it make sense for me to be a leader of people, for me to actually have done it first and done it successfully and gone through? And I'm about to share with you that my team, you're going to go through self-doubt. You're going to go through fears, walls, comfort zones, rejection. You're going to go through and listen to calls you made and say, oh my God, yuck, it was terrible, right? And if I didn't do that myself, how can I lead a team of people to do that? So I would do it first. I would take a portion of my commissions and put it in a marketing pool, in a fund, just like you save for taxes, you save for marketing. And then once I got enough deals, and I was just an animal every day on the phones, 9 to noon, hustling, right? It's that creation mode. This is why we're doing the 100K in 90 days. It's to help be there with you and by you, to get you to do these things every day, to form the habit of doing them. Then once you keep, setting aside for marketing, setting aside for marketing, and then really understanding the best marketing strategies and best practices there, then you actually would start to market. And part of my marketing would be hiring ISAs to actually do those calls for me, or bringing them in-house, training them and doing them for me. Now, I found that hiring a firm like ours that does it well and can slice through this like a hot knife through butter every day, because they're so good. It's all they do. I'd rather pay less and have them be more effective. That's all they do. And they're in an environment where everybody's around them, encouraging them and building it, versus in a real estate office where they're by themselves in a quiet little cubicle and expecting, with no training, no objection handling, no role playing. I was in a top real estate office in our hometown here in Rochester not too long ago. and it was just real quiet in there, right? And I'm thinking, man, if you hired an ISA and came in here, there's no energy. How can you do well on the phones if there's no energy, right? Well, part of that energy, if you're by yourself at your home, is if you're the realtor, right? You're by yourself, it is going to be just you, but you're the one getting paid. Follow me? So your profit margins are big when you're doing these things. But where I'm going with this diagram is ultimately what I pulled out of this woman is a tremendous amount of fear. Tremendous amount of fear is overwhelming her body, and her habits and routines are leading her far away from her goals, right? So she's saying she wants to go to point B, but her actions are going in a completely different direction. And she keeps saying, I just need to get organized. I just need you to tell me. I just need you to show me doing it. I just need you to do that. I keep saying, I need you to do this for me. And I called her out. I said, you don't need me to do anything for you other than to help you see that you are in your biggest way right now. That it is your mindset and your negativity and your scarcity mindset that is causing complete meltdown city for your business right now. You want me to be truthful with you. And you can hear a pause on the other end of the phone. And I said, I want you to tell me how you really feel about prospecting. I want you to tell me how you really feel about calling for sale by owners. I want you to tell me how you really feel about your time and what you don't have and what you can't do and everything else. I want to hear that. And the things that came out basically were she felt that was an activity that was far and above, her. In other words, well, I was so successful and I had all this notoriety. I was number one in our market, number two for many, many years. I said, well, you lost that and it was your fault because people just don't leave. They leave for a reason. So maybe there were some leadership problems there along the way and it comes back to you. And it is what it is, but do you want to rebuild or do you want to hit the eject button? She said, I want to rebuild. I said, then you got to be willing to do the things that are required of you because you don't have the capital to spend the money, the kind of money you did on marketing, or leads are just going to come to you and you have people around you convert in, right? And she's so used to hitting buttons and telling people, I need a spreadsheet, I need this, I need this. And now you don't have the capital to do that. Well, then you have to do it yourself, right? So I guess the question I have for you as you're watching this, what are your deep beliefs about the phone? What are your affirmations and painting and the stroking that's going on in your head about what is it really saying to you? You have to really ask yourself that question because my wife was in a 3-day course for CE and I was talking to her last night. I know I referenced her quite a bit, and she said, show of hands of how many people called on for sale by owners and expireds and FSBOs. And her hand was the only one that went up. She was the youngest, newest realtor in that room. And, I said, it's not amazing. The guy should have asked how many people actually prospect every single day, every day, religiously. Probably, maybe 1 or 2 hands would have been up, right? Why is that? And when I talk about justification and rationalization, we have your brain has an amazing convicted, like there's no tomorrow, and you believe in your heart that BS affirmation or tape that came out is actually real. Well, people don't want to be called and, people don't want to be bothered and, they're working. They don't want to hear from me now. Right. Why would I want to do that? I'm going to save, I want to wait till Saturday, right? I'll call them on Saturday. Well, Monday's never good because, people are thinking about their goals and what they have going on, and Monday's never good. Labor Day is never good. Memorial Day weekend is never good. The week leading up to Memorial Day is never good. A holiday right before Christmas obviously is no good. It was Rosh Hashanah the other day. I shouldn't call people now on Rosh Hashanah. That's disrespectful. And New Year's Day is never good to call people. And then, in fact, that whole week is bull week with football. It's never a good time to call people. And, you follow where I'm going. But the animals out there, they just every day. And they don't look at a list and say, she's probably not going to want to do anything. I'm not going to call her first. Let me find a good person here to call. Let me find a good person, right? And you go through that list and you're trying to really, I don't want to, this is just, I haven't talked to them in 2 years. Why would I want to call them, right? And then we make all these assumptions. All that is advanced call reluctance. All that is advanced call reluctance. where the best people, and I share with you that we have taken people in our organization that literally never made any money. Maybe they were working at, you know, some retail store, right? $1 per hour. And we put them into our training vehicle and gave them the set of scripts, and the system produced amazing results. And they became believers when the results are there, the numbers were converting, and now they're making incredible income, especially for their age, right? I think before we just kind of talk about the tactics and strategies of prospecting, it's really important for you to look at, okay, how much time do I have to pound the phone and before I outsource that or bring somebody in or handle it in a different fashion? And maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, right? I'm here to tell you that it's really not that bad. It's fun. The friends I have right now, some of the best friends I had came because I picked up the phone and made phone calls. And if that positive affirmation and belief is going through your head prior to picking up the phone, like, hey, this might be my next best friend, you never know. And then you have a great conversation, you're like, wow, I have a better affirmation, because actually people don't have fangs and teeth and claw, and they're not mean and nasty. All of them aren't anyway. And they booked an appointment with me, right? And the better you get, the more results you get. Obviously, the stronger that root is. But I really encourage you to look at and ask yourself that question. What have you been rationalizing and justifying lately? When you think of putting it off, well, tomorrow I'll do it. What is it really? Is it because you don't have time? You know, really, you believe that you don't have time. When I can follow you around in a day and I look at the amount of Facebooking where you're reading other people's stuff and Instagramming and emails and then a couple calls with a friend, a long lunch with somebody that already loves you and knows you and is going to make you feel comfortable, right? Then you get filled up with food, and, you know, an hour after that, you're really not into gear because your body's releasing so much, you know, to balance your blood sugar, it's releasing insulin, right? So you're lethargic, right? I know how it goes, guys. I mean, by the way, I can tell you, I've been that person. Everybody has. I've done that. That's why I know, you know, and it's so important for you to know the difference, that if you want performance, you want an extra $100,000 in 90 days, the very first thing you've got to get rid of is the rationalization and the poor tapes and the things that are playing over and over in your head as it relates to prospecting. Now, if you can pull up some of the buyer objections, I want, you know, the viewers to watch on the screen as I kind of go over them. You know, when it comes to picking up the phone, obviously that initial script is, you know, it's never rocket science. If somebody puts in their information in a property search and you call them within 5 minutes, which is what we talk about, you know, it's very simple. John, I see that you're on 125 Smith Road, and I'm a real estate agent with such and such realty, and I was just wondering if you would like to see that particular home, or if there's something I can help you with, right? You start that dialogue. No, we're just, wait. Then they come out. So whatever, after that first intro, the rest of it is what separates a good prospector from a crappy prospector. And when I talk about objection handling to people, it's not about getting them. I got them, I spun them, I twisted them up, right? And winning and you know, and making people feel like stupid, right? Because you can easily do that. The better you get at sales and psychology, you can literally ask questions and make people feel incredibly inadequate. The master can't, right? And get them to see that with the statements that they made, they're basically an idiot. All right. So top people have the ability to do that through questioning and then coming back and handling that. And you may feel like you won, but they didn't book with you or buy from you. You know, so when it comes to objection handling, it's not about proving that you're the man, you're the woman, and negating what they say. Actually, the best objection handlers are the ones that really show empathy and kind of like bedside manners. If you think about a doctor that comes in, and we've had both doctors or nurses that come in, ones that do have bedside manners and ones that don't. And we have to have bedside manners when we overcome objections and really show that we really care about what they're saying. We're acknowledging it, right? And then educating them in a very concerning manner. But you also have to be assertive, right? Not pushy. I didn't say pushy. Assertive. Matter of fact, to sound extraordinarily confident in what you just said. And that's what melts people down. You know, no, thanks, Pat. I got all the information we need. We're all set. Great. Then you know this home is in the Webster area. Is that the only area you're considering, or are there more you're looking for, John? You know, so they said we're all set, and I just simply asked another question. You know, go to the next one. You know, scroll down just a bit. Well, I don't want to buy. We're not going to buy right now. Well, John, I can sincerely appreciate that. Are we looking at 3, 6 months or longer before you guys are deciding to move? Well, we're not quite sure. It's probably going to be say, okay, sounds good. And I'm just curious, what needs to happen between now and then? You know, what are the obstacles in place, John and Mary? You know, or John, talking to one person typically on the phone, right? Well, you know, a couple things. Number one, we've got to do this. Number two, we've got to do that. Okay, great. I'll tell you what, you're in a very, very fantastic position. You know what I mean by that? No, why? Oh, because there's no real, you don't need to have a home now. You don't have to sell your house now, and you have time. Time is the greatest attribute of negotiation. So, you know, that enables somebody like me to really profile and understand exactly what you're looking for, and begin to really take that profile, insert it into technology, also have me network for you so that we can uncover perhaps that ideal deal where you not only get the house you want, but perhaps tens of, or 20 or 30 or $40,000 less. Does that make sense? That's called a tie down. Yes. So why don't we do this? I'd like to get together with you, have a quick cup of coffee, and just kind of take you through a process that I can educate you on, and technology that will help me to help you guys find that ideal home, perhaps for substantially less. Do you have time tomorrow at 5 o'clock where we can get together for a few minutes, or would Tuesday be better for you? All right. And so it's that kind of empathy and understanding. Now, or another one. Now I'm just curious. Okay, well, this home is priced at $299,900. Is that the price range you're looking to buy, John? Right. Now I'm just curious. So now you're just continuing to ask questions, right? And all you're doing is buying time so you can actually develop and build rapport. You know, go scroll down just a little bit. Where was the home? Where was that home? Response: the home's located in Fairport. Is that the area where we're interested in buying? I'm looking for my sister and brother-in-law. Response: the home is located in Fairport. Is that the area we're interested in buying? It's just very simple. You're asking a question with a question. I'm not ready. It's a common one. Response: John, again, empathy, show empathy, right? Well, John, I can appreciate that. In fact, a lot of people that I work with are in the same situation as you. Now, are you looking at 3 months, 6 months, or longer before you might move? Right, 6 months. Great. Well, what needs to happen between now and then in that time frame, John, to help get you to point B? Right. I have to sell my house first. Great. I can appreciate that. Is your house currently on the market? Are you working with an agent? Right. These are just logical things. But you know what happens is most people will hear an objection like, no, thanks. We're just looking. Right. Boom. You have got to, before they hang up behind you, you've got to sneak that question in right away. You know, and because reality is, guys, they can be outside, you know, playing with their children in the swing set or going to a ball game. They have better things to do than sit there and enter information in property search sites. Now, some people actually can't qualify for a mortgage. They don't have the funds to do it. Okay. But they want real estate, which, by the way, that person is still a good lead because you partner up with your really good loan originator. You put them into a credit improvement plan. They're going to buy a house someday, right? Most people, right? The master database, build a database, the new currency, right? And especially with millennials, guys. I mean, you know, there's a lot of millennials wanting to buy right now, and the houses that are on the market typically are overpriced for their range, right? So building products are coming out. We got to really get those millennials in our database and start looking proactively for them. Bam! As soon as listings come up, we've got to be the first ones on it. So, I mean, man, get with your millennials, guys. The biggest buying group out there. And as we prepare for a softened market, if you can scroll down, I only want to work with a listing agent, okay? So I'll get a better deal, and that's a common thought. I can see that you might want to do that, John. Let me ask you, though, if you're going to court, would you want to have an attorney who is representing the other side represent you? Of course not, right? I mean, it's actually a common myth. So here I am going to educate them. It's actually a common myth, but the reality is that the listing agent's job and moral responsibility and fiduciary responsibility is to get the most amount of money they can for their client. And the opposite side is true for you and I. My job is to protect and negotiate the best possible deal on your behalf. And I'll say this, without any kind of representation, with no agent representing the buyer, typically ends in either paying too much or losing the deal. Does that make sense? Yes. So you can elaborate further, but John, part of this whole thing, and when there's multiple offers, is having relationships with the realtors and having a prior success with real estate agents. So when you come in with the exact same offer, you really want to work with somebody that has a fantastic credibility and relationships with a lot of the other agents in our community. But let's just do this. Why don't we get together for 15 minutes and we'll have a cup of coffee. I'll walk you through the process and we'll see if we can help you out. Does that sound okay with you? Yes, great. So whenever they give you an objection, you handle the objection, you take them back to the close. And again, not all of them, some people will hang up on you still. Other people will listen and book with you. And some people will listen and choose, throw 5 other objections at you before you. I will ultimately call those people out. John and Mary, you just gave me 5 different objections. Okay, let me ask you a very candid question. Do you want a new home at some point? Yes. Then let's get together. And so you call people out and you do it in a very professional manner. And you really have to come across as the surgeon, the doctor, the highly paid attorney on the phone. And so when we look at highly successful, I don't know how much time I have left for you guys, people, if you want to build momentum in your real estate business right now, if we're in the mortgage industry, the mortgage business, I mean, you've got to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? From 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And this is just pounding the phones. Right here. If you take care of the mornings, the afternoons will always take care of themselves. And so, and Friday, by the way, if you do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and this actually came from a good friend of mine named Clayton Gitt, so I can't take credit for this, but Clayton tells a really good story. Now, he runs a very successful team in Richmond, Virginia. Clayton accumulated an incredible amount of debt and was in a really bad spot about 10 years ago. And this is all he did. He just said, I made the commitment to pound the phones 9 to noon to turn it around. He guy's on top of the world right now. And I mean, crushing it. And he said, Pat, on Friday, he goes, I was so exhausted, right, that I would only work till noon. And then, I would go and reward myself. Golf, family, stare at the wall and relax, right? Have a glass of wine, right? Whatever. He goes, but if you really do this and do it every day, you're going to be so gassed come Friday afternoon, but your chest is going to be filled with incredible pride because you had discipline, whether the result was there or not. But when Clayton was in that spot, when you have little kids, right, and things are dark and you don't have money, you have all this debt, you got 2 options, man. You can go tank, or you can dig, scratch, claw, kick, but you're certainly not looking at the list and saying, let me find the good ones. You are calling everybody all day long. And one thing, if you can just trust the fact that the universal laws of success, they always come to our aid. We always see people that do this every day go on to accumulate massive wealth. Massive wealth. And it's all it takes is the decision, the admittance of the fact that you are rationalizing certain things, telling yourself you don't have time, telling yourself that phoning is not for you, that you're above that, telling yourself that you don't have the good list, or you just need to, do more marketing, telling yourself that I don't have good stuff, I don't really have a great database, I don't know anybody, I'm not from this area, this market's different. I hear that all the time. Well, Miami's different, Little Rock's different, Pat, San Diego's different, Pat, Denver's different, you don't know this market, Pat, Boston's different. You know how many times I've heard that? I've traveled the country for 18 straight years. I hear that everywhere I go. You don't know this market, right? Well, guess what? I do, because I've spent more time across the country than most people. But people are people. You're selling to people, not pigs, chickens, and cows. And they're all led by the same emotion. It's gaining a benefit or avoiding a loss. And if you can develop your sales methodologies around that, showing them the benefit and putting that, if they don't use you, that fear of missing out, that fear of loss. And that creates urgency, separation. When you add your UVPs, that's what will generate the results. And you can only do it and by every day getting on the phones, keeping a journal and asking yourself 3 questions. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What am I going to do differently? Recording those calls and saying, you know what? Where did I lose that person? Not, you know what? They weren't a good prospect. Everyone that says no, a lot of people, everyone that says no to the listing, well, it wasn't me. It was, they just, they had a cousin. They're just trying to use me for information. It wasn't me. But if you videotape yourself, like NFL athletes do, right? And they go down to the coaches and they watch every play. Well, they're looking for things that they can improve on just that much, right? This art is really what it takes. It's every single day commitment to asking yourself, when you look at the result, and if you're not getting it, we don't want to look and say they're a bad prospect. We want to always look and say, what did I do to cause that no? When I do my seminars, when I show people with such amazing clarity on how they get from point A to point B, and I ask them to invest just $500 into all this coaching materials and playbook and the course and everything, right? And they just got one deal out of it, right? Amazing ROI. I know my numbers. It's 30% of the room will make that investment. And anytime it's 25% or 20%, I don't say, yeah, the Minneapolis, St. Paul is just a beat market, or, they're just not good at it. And Detroit is just, it's terrible there. I look at my film and I say, where didn't I go wrong? We have to take complete ownership of our lives. And it starts with having optimal thoughts and beliefs. There's nothing more important. You can never say you don't have time to prospect, because it's the most important activity of every single day. You can say, I don't have time to check email. You can say, I don't have time to look at Facebook. You can say, I don't have time to grab a 3-hour lunch with a friend of mine, but you can never say, I don't have time to prospect. Make that your priority, guys. That is the change. You want 100K in 90 days? You can get 100K in 90 days. I'm telling you right now, if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday look like this, well, I'm not really the type of person that's pushy or that's a thought and belief. That's an affirmation. I'm here to tell you, BS. You can be you and put yourself in those scripts and make those things come to life and sound like your mannerisms, but you still have to sound confident. As long as you're okay with rejection. Because like I said, two biggest reasons why people don't pick up the phone. Number one is their self-image has not been conditioned to look at negative feedback as a critical component of their success. Top people look for negative feedback and failures, and they learn from it. Their subconscious mind needs it, right? It's constantly assimilating that data, right? Until they become unconsciously competent, where just boom, it's automatic, right? That's number one. Most people's self-image is to self-esteem, self-preservation is to avoid negative feedback, to preserve your existing comfort zone. So the phone is a threat to their self-image. So I get too many no's, I'll start feeling bad about myself, right? So that number two is they don't have the words locked, right? So they don't know the words, right? And number three really is they don't have your database organized. All right. So guys, all these things we can help you with and are helping you with, whether it's helping you with your database. Some of you are utilizing our real database products, and you understand how sophisticated they are with scrubbing and updating the data. Some of you are on our AI product. We have artificial intelligence serving you up leads and ranking those leads, which is awesome. Some of you actually have Facebook marketing and retargeting ads and retargeting ads. We're taking your database and it's mining your database. And others have us doing all those things, as well as actually having our ISAs call and make the phone calls for you with internet leads and for sale by owners, FSBOs, et cetera. So any leads that come in, we call them first for you. So any area of that we want to help you with. I can tell you as a coach that I would prefer that whether you hire us to have our ISAs make calls for you, that you first journey down that path and understand This is what it takes. And if you don't have the funds, right, to do that, go ahead and 9 to noon, build it up, build it up, build it up, build it up. Because then you really want, like I talked about the other day, the best plumbers are not fixing toilets. The best plumbers are doing marketing for their business, and they bring in and train people to actually do the work. So we want to get to that level. We want to leverage, that's later on down our curricula. How do we ultimately either be a team, leverage ourselves, recruiting agents, and making money off other people, hundreds if not thousands of people is ultimately where we want to go. Where does it all start? Developing the right culture. And the culture we want to develop, starting with you, is one of not being afraid of the phone and having what to say and having the objection handling right in front of you and owning it. Practice, practice, practice. God bless you guys. Have an awesome day. I'm sorry I ran a little bit long. Do me a favor, guys. If you liked it, make a comment, heart, quote, anything. We want your feedback. We want to know if this is helpful for you. And if there's any particular topic you would like me to cover tomorrow, let me know. And I will tell you that, if there's common things that people are looking for, handling listings, driving the listing side, listing presentation, booking appointments with sellers, overcoming seller objections, overcoming price and commission objections in a listing presentation, developing a UVP for your listing presentation, anything, guys, phone, selling. I would love your feedback. Have a great day. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll talk to you tomorrow.